I knew I should have stopped, but I can't stop. This is the third video I'm recording in the same night. I missed a couple parts. Basically, I was just a massive bitch, okay? You didn't miss much. She's just a massive bitch, but they found Noriko's fucking factory. The factory is a rundown mess. How could anyone live here is beyond me. I suppose I'll just have to find a way to make it feel like home. Maybe once I'm inside Noriko's skin, I'll be able to understand why she's comfortable here. What the fuck? Yeah, the more I look at it, the better it seems. This will be my home. I'll be Noriko and live here happily ever after. I'll sit back and enjoy the life that she's been withholding from me. Firstly, I need to find somewhere to change my clothes. I can't kill someone if I'm wearing my nice dress. That's just not acceptable. I did consider changing at home, but then I would have scored funny looks from people on the train ride over here. Is it strange that a dead girl feels entering a socially awkward situation? I always go out of my way to avoid uncomfortable situations. Perhaps that's just a remnant of the life I once knew, something I can't quite leave behind. It's the same in my obsessive compulsions. They cling to me like carrion flies swarming over my corpse. By the way, I honestly think that this girl might actually be dead. I don't know what happened, but I think she might like legit be dead. I don't know what's going on. Or maybe not dead, but like her senses are just extremely dulled. I shouldn't be worried about any of those things, but dead or not, my mind can't just discard the anxieties that shape my entire life. Wait, what am I doing? Why am I trapping myself in pointless thoughts? My goal is right in front of me. Noriko's on the other side of that brick wall, completely unaware of what is about to happen. I've have it slammed to my face as a stink, but it causes me to reevaluate what I'm doing. Focus. First, I'll change to the gear provided to me by the human removal service. Then I'll shimmy into the factory through an open window. I'll locate Noriko and drive a knife into her chest. I'll pluck her still beating heart from her body like a ripe strawberry, and then I'll carve my name into the pulsating blood-spurting organ. Noriko's life will be over and I'll be reborn. I'll baptize myself in her lifeblood and become the girl I've always wanted to be. And I'll be happy. Happy, just like Noriko. That smiling, carefree girl that I spent my youth with. The girl that faced her mother's attempted suicide with a stoic smile. The girl that didn't flinch when her father walked out. The girl that stayed inside day after day when the outside world just became too scary to face. The happy, carefree girl without a single real problem. She never knew how good her life was. She wouldn't have lasted a day in my shoes. I hate her so much. I'm going to become her. My backpack hits the ground with a dull impact. I tear into my yellow sundress from my shoulders and let it fall to the ground just like a snake sheds its skin. The cool afternoon breeze bites at my naked skin and makes the tiny hairs across my body stand on end. Why can't the dead feel the cold? The dead shouldn't feel anything. I crouch and rummage through my backpack, withdrawing my damn change of clothes. Because you're not dead, you bitch! Slowly, calmly, deliberately, I dress myself in the dark gear that marks me as a herald, one of many. I note the comforting weight of 4 knives concealed within my jacket, 1 in each sleeve and 2 against my chest. It's important to be armed to the teeth. She's got 3 knives? Okay, 4 knives, okay, fuck. After donning every article, I pull a broad mask out of the bag, a mask in the likeness of Corpse Girl, my enemy and my future identity. I slide the mask over my face and a curtain of calm descends over me. This is the last time I march forward in the name of the Human Removal Service. This is for my own personal agenda. The scheming of that rebellious group of killers no longer guides my hand. The time has come. I approach the factory's front entrance and try the door simply out of curiosity. I don't expect Noriko to have lowered her guard so much, and yet the door swings open. She left it unlocked, a mistake I never would have made thanks to my overbearing compulsions. This place reeks of death. If I wasn't so accustomed to the smell, I'd probably vomit. Do dead girls vomit? The dull, steady hum of an air conditioner registers in my consciousness, but doesn't distract me from examining the surroundings. Countless empty body bags are strewn across the pockmarked concrete floor. Some are stained with brown blood and some are completely clean. A series of shelves, almost like warehouse racks, run along the walls and across the floor in haphazard patterns. Whoever planned this layout was out of their mind. However, this is home now. My home. Soon. Starting forward, I weave between shelves and step over discarded body bags. So far, there's been no indication of Noriko's presence. Still, I draw a knife from inside my sleeve so that it rests in the palm of my hand. The metal hand is cold. Cold. Why do I feel cold? The entire factory is like a freezer. How can Noriko live here? My torso twists in reaction to the monotone syllable. The quick movement sends a shooting pain across my chest. Pain? Pain?
It's you. Hello, Harold. It took me a while, but I figured out what your mask is supposed to be. It's like an artistic representation of Corpse Girl, right? The Corpse Girl mascot that appears on my website.
Noriko flashes her phone at me and I glare at the websites displayed.
That's totally copyright infringement.
I don't know what to say to her. This isn't exactly how I imagined this encounter would play out.
Why'd you fake Junpei Matsumoto's death? You know what I'm talking about, right? That time we met in the underground parking lot. You planted a look-alike corpse to fool us into thinking Junpei had died. Total corpse girl move, by the way. Guess you stole that strategy from me too. I sense a lawsuit.
She steps forward with a hand outstretched. I instinctively lash out with my knife and slash her wrist, but her hand comes to rest on my shoulder, the tiny nick of my inaccurate blade not even prompting a spurt of blood.
Ouch. That stung a little.
The warmth of her hand seeps into my shoulder. It's almost comforting.
Aoi, I miss you. Can you take off the mask? Can we just talk?
This is crazy. I don't take off the mask. I don't know why I'm standing here listening to her. I don't know why her presence in her reassuring hand has caused me to lower my guard. She smiles. This is the happy, carefree Noriko I grew up with.
You're so beautiful, Aoi. I'm really sad we can't be together. How are things with your boyfriend?
That single useless word crawls out of my rotting mouth like a diseased maggot. It's all I can bring myself to say.
You can't tell me? That's okay. You used to be so open with me. And then you died. We tried to keep our friendship going after that, but we've never really been the same since then, have we? I hope you get the help you need, Aoi. I hope one day we can put all of this behind us.
My fingers loosen, the grip of my knife weakening. It falls to the concrete ground. I don't need it anymore. I tense my arms and squeeze my hands together, desperately trying to crush Noriko's throat beneath my fingers. Her skin is warm and flushes red as my grip tightens. She kicks against me, but the pain doesn't register. She's weak and frail. Her strangled cry is drowned out by my own grunts of exertion. Anemic fingers swipe at my arms constantly, only starting to irritate me. I could hold her neck in one hand and use my other to plunge a knife into her face. I could continue to strangle her until I crushed her windpipe. Or I could slash her stomach open and let her intestines spill out to the ground. All of the options are appealing. All of the options can be put into motion within seconds. I take my right hand off her neck and slip into my jacket, ready to pull out a knife. My left hand closes tighter on her neck, and Noriko closes the distance between us, causing my elbow to bend and allow her closer. Her forehead slams into my own, and my neck recoils backward. I'm falling to the ground, only able to blink once as I try to work out what just happened. What the fuck? She somehow summoned the strength to headbutt me. Frail, weak, ghostly Noriko. She actually stood up for herself. She actually struck the person she loves. I'm dazed, but ultimately uninjured. I didn't even feel the impact of my skull against the concrete when I landed flat on my back. Noriko towers over me and rubs her neck, her ragged breathing even louder than the thrumming air conditioner.
Sorry, Aoi. I had to defend myself.
The fuck?
Please, get up. Let's talk about things.
I get up. I slip the knife into her side and feel it slide neatly between two of her ribs. Her taut, thin skin does nothing to resist impalement. Noriko looks down at the wound and mumbles in surprise. I drive the knife in deeper, and with a flick of my wrist, I pull it sideways, slashing her belly open wide. An arcing stream of blood sprays from the savage wound and forms a macrame rainbow before me. Noriko coughs and gags as she frantically tries to stem the tide of blood with her hands.
Damn it. Corpse girl will...
She falls to her knees. Her empty threat falls with her, and her face slams into the concrete. Noriko Kurosawa is dead. Using the very same knife that slashed her open, I cut along the seams of my jacket and skirt. I strip myself down with the blade until I'm standing cold and naked in the factory. It doesn't take long to strip Noriko down as well. But I'm extra careful with her clothes, and I don't use the knife this time. I simply pull her dress up and over her until it slides free from her motionless body. I hold the dress up against me, letting it press against my own form. I look down and admire the sight of myself, imagining what I'll look like when I wear it. I can finally become Noriko. I can wear her clothes, live in her factory, talk to her friends, work at her office. I can do all the things that she loved to do, all the things that made her happy. I slip the dress over my head and force my arms through the sleeves. It's a little long, but overall fits me nicely. I'm Noriko Kurosawa. What? That's it? So Noriko just dies like that? Final act, Noriko Kurosawa. Okay, so we're back. We're back. What the fuck happened? When Mother killed herself, she didn't die. Well, she died, but not really. It's a funny thought. Everything that she was, everything that made her Asuna Kurosawa, left this planet on that day. Her body remained, but her soul had departed. She got sent away to a care facility, and I didn't see her very often after that. On the rare occasions I visited her, I would always notice that her eyes no longer looked like mine. I hate her for what she did to our family. Yuriko and I were only children at the time. When Mother hung herself up from the ceiling and made us watch, she encouraged us to kick the chair out from underneath her. We didn't understand what she was doing. She told us it was a game. So we kicked the chair and we laughed, and Mother laughed, and then her neck snapped and she stopped laughing, and that light in her eyes that I once shared with her was extinguished instantly. Yuriko screamed and I screamed, and Mother just wouldn't move, and we couldn't get her down from the ceiling, and eventually Yuriko remembered how to call for an ambulance, and the paramedics arrived and were taken away. And after that I was completely fucked up, because you don't just walk away from something like that and act like nothing happened. I spent years trying to force the painful memories of her attempted suicide out of my mind, but I didn't exactly cope with it very well. How could I? I became terrified of the world and became used to locking myself inside and wasting away. Yuriko dealt with it a little better than me. I can't say her rebellious behavior was the right way to cope, but it had to have been healthier than staying inside for weeks at a time. By the time I reached senior high school, I think I had mostly gotten past everything. The vision of Mother hanging from the ceiling in front of me didn't haunt my dreams. The sound of our laughter intermingled with screaming didn't always ring in my ears. Aoi helped me through a lot of it. She shared all of her problems with me, and it made me feel a bit better, like maybe my life wasn't so bad. Aoi's life was kind of messed up. Her father was arrested for various crimes and didn't spend much time in her life. When we were ready to graduate, he came back to town and violently attacked her. She called me and told me that he killed her. But she killed him too, so it was all going to be okay. Her words, not mine. I never understood what she meant when she said she was dead. I think graduating put some distance between us, so I never truly tried to figure out her words. My own problems came back to haunt me almost once I moved out of home. I became completely distracted and almost forgot about Aoi. The apartment I moved into, I should have known that the smell of mold wasn't normal. I should have paid attention to the shoddy repair work that had been performed on the wall. I should have just walked away and found somewhere else to live. But that apartment, I suppose that's where I started to lose control of my life, and that's exactly the reason why I need to return there. Several days later, you're not dead? You're not dead?
Looks the same as always.
How the fuck did you survive? I'm not looking forward to climbing the rest of the stairs up to the apartment. I can hardly walk at all, even on flat ground, but I have to do this. I can't let stitches and bandages and painkillers distract me from getting inside. I don't know how long I was in the hospital for. None of my personal effects were with me when I woke up. I had no phone, no purse, no handbag. But the doctors monitored me for a few days and then let me go, even though I told them I had nowhere to return to. Where did they find her body? Did they not find her body in that factory with all the what? They just threw me onto the street. They couldn't even tell me what happened to the girl who attacked me. They had no idea if she had been arrested or not. I had a feeling she's still out there. Regardless, I'm here now. My wound is apparently on the mend and I don't have any signs of infection. All I have to focus on is the ascent in front of me. Each step I climb is more difficult to conquer than the last. Each time I raise my leg, I experience a tearing, searing agony along the length of my stomach. More than once, I have to stop and check that my stitches haven't torn wide open. When I'm sure my flesh is more or less intact, I continue scaling the mountain. My head throbs and beads of sweat drip down my face. When I hit the landing on the level below my own apartment, I spy a familiar face.
Noriko?
Momo Ogawa, the daughter of Kenji Ogawa, the man I framed in order to maintain my innocence.
Hey, Momo. Dad!
Her panic cries at the reaction I was suspecting. Her father is exiting their apartment just as Momo cries out. He does a double take before glaring at me.
Noriko, surprised to see you here.
I can't quite get a grasp of his tone. Is he happy to see me or angry? Does he even know that I'm the reason he was arrested? Well, I'm assuming that the police let him go very quickly. After all, he's here at his home and not rotting in a cell.
Hello.
The landlord said you disappeared.
Yeah, kind of.
Are you okay? You look like...
His gaze turns to the hospital tags adorning my wrist and the package of spare bandages I have slung over my shoulder.
You know, you disappeared right around the time the police... Forget it. It's nothing.
I have a bad feeling that he's beginning to piece something together. If it works out that I'm behind his false arrest, then...
Sorry, I should go.
Yeah. Come on, Momo.
Bye, Noriko. Bye, Momo.
The girl waves excitedly as her father leads her downstairs. I should feel relieved that he's safe, but honestly, I just feel guilty. My actions, Corpse Girl's actions, put a lot of strain on their little family. I have to keep going. The last flight of stairs is torture on my battered body, but I persevere and reach the front door of my apartment. I can't believe Noriko's alive. How the fuck did this work? It's at this moment that I don't have any keys to get in. Shit. Out of desperation, I try turning the handle and the door opens. Either I left the place unlocked or the landlord has been inside and forgot to lock up. I'm just thankful I can keep moving forward. The curtains are open, bathing the living area in the soft light.
I'm home.
Home. No, that's not right. This isn't my home. This is Noriko's home. This is Corpse Girl's home. I never really lived here. I simply existed within these walls. The real Noriko was held hostage by an omnipotent presence sealed in this home. The things here are just as I left them so long ago. It's a comforting feeling, but at the same time, it sends a chill down my spine. It's time to move on. I stride with purpose towards the kitchenette and slide open one of the drawers. Inside was a small mallet with a metal head. It's a treasure I acquired from the garden shed on the apartment grounds back when I first moved in. It's not very large, but that suits me just fine. I don't have the strength to wield anything bigger than this. Bringing it to bear is still a great deal of effort. I grip the handle with both hands and lift the deceptively heavy tool. Equipped with this tiny weapon of destruction, I slowly lurch through the hallway. I make my way to the very end, where a blank, stark white wall faces me. The paint on the wall is peeling, like it was slapped on without care. The plaster is cracked, like it was applied by an amateur, and the lingering stench of mold is at its strongest when I stand in front of this wall. I bring the mallet down with both arms, the heavy metal head crashing into the wall with as much force as I can muster. The struggle of bearing the mallet is taking its toll on my wound. I feel the stitches in my stomach threatening to snap and break, but I can't stop here. I can't stop until I've crushed this wall and revealed the glittering contents of the trove hidden inside. Another swing, and another crash against plaster, a cry of pain and another hole in the wall. I scream and swing and hammer and groan and slash and weep, and the wall crumbles beneath my sheer force of will. White dust clouds my vision and provokes me into a coughing frenzy. When my eyes and throat clear up, I throw the mallet to the carpet and venture forward. I clamber through the human-sized hole in the wall and find myself within the secret cache on the other side. There she is. There she is. Corpse Girl. The real Corpse Girl. What was her name again? It was Shizuko. Shizuko. There she is. The stench assaulting my nostrils no longer disguises itself as a mold. It's the fetid malodor of rotten decay. The imitable trademark of a decomposing corpse. I spent so long fooling myself into believing it was nothing concerning. I spent so long pretending that a corpse did not live within the walls of this apartment. The truth is, this corpse pinned to the wall is the root of all evil. It's an infinite fount of misery and despair and malice and death and hatred. This is Corpse Girl.
Hello, old friend.
The corpse does not reply. To call it a corpse is no longer entirely accurate. It has become little more than a skeleton. An insidious evidence, a macabre tribute to the unyielding sands of time. Bone and flesh and hair and fabric blend and intertwine and meld together to form a sickening representation of human beauty. Beauty. I used to think this body was pure perfection. Back when the corpse was more or less intact, it was an image of a gorgeous, vibrant young woman. I aspired to become just as beautiful. Oh, she tore this wall down before and then put it back together? Slender, elegant, graceful, with pale skin and dark eyes. Looking at her now, it's clear to see I was deceived. The form before me is not beautiful, it's revolting. I shaped myself into the image of death, truly believing I was transcending mortal beauty. This corpse controlled me for so long. This corpse manipulated me and made me want to become just like it. Somewhere along the way, my own identity began to dissolve, and I started to believe I had become this rotting carcass, this pallid bag of flesh. The spell has been broken. I don't know if it's because of my near-death experience or the clarity of my mind inspired by an intoxicating cocktail of painkillers, but I no longer want to associate myself with Corpse Girl. There you go! I want to be myself, just Noriko. I no longer want to kill in the name of this blasphemous effigy.
Corpse Girl, I found you here, trapped in this storage closet, just over a year ago, and you stole my life from me.
Looking at her now, I can't help but wonder what the hell went through my mind when I let her possess me. Why did discovering this corpse have such a profound, lasting effect on my psyche? I shut my eyes off as a wave of dizziness threatens to overcome me. Staggering in the near darkness, I struggled to regain my balance. I had blocked out the memory of discovering this corpse for so long, I refused to acknowledge it ever happened. But the crystallized fragments of that forgotten memory have finally breached the surface of my consciousness. I can finally recall the event, thanks to the clarity brought about by my current state of mind. Okay, how did this shit happen? It happened several days after I moved into this apartment. The musty smell of mold lured me to the wall at the end of the corridor. The wall had been hastily patched up and covered with plaster and paint. I wondered about the source of the smell. I figured it might be a leak, a busted pipe that needed repair. Instead of calling upon the landlord for assistance, I took matters into my own hands. Perhaps I was inspired by my newfound independence. I had just become a free young woman, living on my own for the first time. Perhaps I was just stupid. I located a mallet in the garden shed. I tore down the wall. I found Corpse Girl, and in that moment I fell to my knees. Someone had hung this corpse upon the wall and decorated the storage room with books and photographs. The sight of the dead woman bearing down on me instantly unearthed the buried memories of my mother's attempted suicide. The pain and despair that I had repressed for so long found its way out of my mouth and formed an unholy scream. I think the fear of that discovery and the subsequent revival of subdued memories caused me to slip in and out of consciousness. I was paralyzed by fear and my entire body was racked with pain. Looking back now, I feel like I must have spent days lying in a heap on the floor of the storage closet. Days spent with a dreary haze of dread and depression and distress. Days spent at the feet of that hanging corpse that form I began to look up and idolize. Days spent in a lull, a fever dream, surrounded by photographs on the wall of all manner of corpses. Days and days of my soul and identity slipping between my fingers. Something must have eventually cracked inside me because I remember getting to my feet and repairing the wall. I don't know how I did it, but I patched it up and painted over it and vacuumed up all the dust and debris from the carpet. And then the memory of the entire incident just vanished from my mind. The only relic I retrieved from that storage space was a single book, a heavy tome that must have tumbled out of the closet during my delirium. False Photography, a comprehensive history of photo manipulation. That boy Kojiro created Corpse Girl, bro. He's behind all of this shit. Accidentally. Now, Corpse Girl doesn't look the same way she used to. Uncovering her today hasn't shocked me into submission like it did all that time ago. Am I stronger now? No, not really, but I was prepared to face her this time, and now I'm here to bury her. As I calmly assess how difficult it would be to retrieve her from their position, my eyes fall upon the dozens of photos plastered haphazardly across the walls. Photographs of nameless bodies printed with an instant camera. It must be 10 or 20 or 30 corpses across the entire series of images. I don't recognize any of them. That's the only comfort I could take from viewing the images, the comfort that I'm not the one who decorated this room with these macabre visuals. Whoever put these photos up is undoubtedly the same person responsible for hanging Corpse Girl on the wall. All the photos look so real, and all the corpses are in such normal situations. There's an image of a decomposing body sitting on a bench, waiting on a train platform. He's wearing a suit, like any other ordinary businessman. Another image is of a headless couple at a dinner table, dressed in their Sunday best. They are sharing a candlelit meal. Corpses going about their daily life. It's eerily reminiscent of something else I've encountered before. What was it? A book I read? Instinctively, my eyes dart to the pile of books toppled over in a corner of the storage room. There are dozens of duplicate books, as if they were abandoned here by their own author. I crouch and dust off the cover of the book at the top of the pile. Dazed by the Dead by Nobel Sinclair. Underneath 10 more copies of that volume is a different book with a familiar cover. Strange Flower. I know this. The very same book that Kojiro lent me so long ago. Kojiro is Nobel Sinclair. Kojiro is Nobel Sinclair. Except the book here is not some worn, well-read library copy. It's in pristine condition, save for the layer of dust coating it. There are nearly a dozen copies of this book as well. Someone intentionally abandoned these books here, and the fact that they are accompanying so many photos of corpses, not to mention Miss Corpse Girl herself, is no coincidence. These books and photos, as well as the copy of False Photography I found here so long ago, all of this somehow embedded itself into my consciousness and inspired me to start Corpse Girl's website. I'm sure of it. This room, this fucking cursed room, ruined my life and corrupted my mind, and I have to wonder if somebody planned it all. Did somebody leave all these things here in order to break whoever entered? It's probably a far-fetched concept, but I'm desperate to place the blame on somebody, anybody but myself.
Enough.
A light slap to my face snaps me out of my inner ramblings. It's time to bury Corpse Girl and put this life behind me once and for all. I can't really atone for the things I've done this last year. Hell, I don't actually feel like I need to atone. It's not guilt that's eating me up inside. But at the very least, I can move on. I carefully remove the restraints tying Corpse Girl to the wall and feel the weight of her rotted body collapse against my old frail form. Her head leans against my shoulder, and for a brief moment I pause and let her rest against me. I run a hand through what's left of her hair. She's been through a lot. We both have. We're both Corpse Girl. Well, we both used to be. Now we're just empty husks with no purpose. If we're not Corpse Girl, we'll probably be forgotten, lost to time and memory. For once in my life, I'm looking forward to being forgotten. How are you supposed to get her out? Nobody's gonna see you carrying this body? Bonus ending? What do you mean bonus ending? God, this place is boring as hell. After all the shit I've been through this year, I simply can't believe I'm still working here. If it weren't for Shinya, I probably wouldn't bother coming in every day, but I want to patch things up with him. If I keep talking to him in the office, surely I'll call my way to forgiveness. Speaking of that son of a bitch, here he comes now. Look at him. He walks past my desk and doesn't even acknowledge my existence. How can he ignore me? After all the time we spent together? Fucking hell. He irritates the shit out of me sometimes. I'll just have to take matters to my own hands. If he won't talk to me, I'll just make him talk. I leave my desk and stride over to him. My heavy footsteps aren't exactly elegant or befitting a lady, as my mother used to always say, but I don't really give a flying fuck.
Hey, what's going on?
The slurred, drawling words that drip from my mouth don't come out the way I want. That always seems to be the case. Everyone treats me like some dumbass dipshit because of the way I speak. They don't understand that's the way somebody thinks that really matters. I can't help it if I was brought to speak like a fucking imbecile. Blame my father, not me.
Oh. Hello, Tomoe.
Hello yourself. What's a gal gotta do to get a conversation out of you these days?
Huh? What do you mean?
Come on. You know we don't speak like we used to.
Well, we broke up. You dumped me.
That's fucked.
What exactly do you expect from me now?
Oh, please. You know I'm sorry for that. I told you 1,000 times that breaking it off with you was the stupidest thing I've ever done. So come on. Get back together with me, will ya?
Tomoe, you broke my heart.
Yeah, I know. Shinya, I really love you.
Oh.
I need you.
Oh. I'm not normally one to get embarrassed, but letting my feelings hang in the air between us really makes me
Did
uncomfortable.
you hear about my father?
Eh?
I wasn't expecting him to shrug off my confession with a swift change of topic.
Tracked down an important member of the human removal service.
Jeez, not this shit again. Can't you just let it all go?
No, I can never do that. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I could use a hand, if you're willing to assist. Having someone by my side with insider information would be rather handy. Don't you agree?
I'm kind of blindsided by his request. I know that he knows everything. I'll be stupid to pretend he hasn't figured it all out now. He knows of my involvement in Noriko. He knows that I had a hand, however indirect, in the suicide cases that Corpse Girl painted across the city.
I'm not going to judge you for working with Noriko. If you can help me bring the greater perpetrator to justice, the head of the human removal service, then I think it may have been a good thing that you did what you did.
That's so. You'd forgive me for getting involved with such stupid shit?
Yes. I'd have no choice but to forgive you.
He's fucking lying, but fuck it.
Maybe we can even move further forward.
I know he's just saying what I want to hear. He can be manipulative in his own way. But if there's a chance I can make up for the shit I've done and win Shinya over again, then I have to go for it.
Right. Sign me up then, or whatever. I'll help out.
Thank you, Tomoe. I'm going to interview the individual involved with the human removal service.
Are you allowed to do that?
Of course. Father said I'm an important member of the investigation team now. I'd like you to come with me. You might be able to point out any inconsistencies in his testimony.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I'll do my best.
For the first time in a long time, Shilin smiles at me.
Ah, shit, man. I told you, I don't know. Can you just leave me alone?
This guy's pathetic. Every time I open my mouth, he flinches and recoils in terror, like he thinks I'm going to hit him or stab him.
Listen here, you little shit. If you don't spill the deets, my man here will crush your fat skull into dust.
Tomoe, maybe you should let me do the talking from here on out.
Whatever.
I back off and let Shinya take my place. I talked him up, so I thought he'd be pleased, but maybe I just annoyed him.
Mr. Matsumoto.
Please, just call me June. Hey, nice try, mister. I ain't your friend. You can address me formally. Thank you very much.
He folds his arm across his chest and adopts the pouting expression of a child.
Yes. Well, as I was saying, Mr. Matsumoto, you understand why you've been brought in for questioning, yes?
Yeah, man, but, like, I'm totes innocent, you know? I don't even know nothing about the human removal service. You guys think I'm involved, but you haven't given a reason why you think that.
Cause you're fat. No, I'm playing. No fat phobia. Shinya retrieves a small pocket notebook from somewhere and flips through the pages. After a moment's silence, he clears his throat.
Several witnesses, plus a security camera, placed you at the scene of a murder just 2 days ago. Now, it's apparent you weren't the culprit. However, your activities at the time of the incident were questionable at best.
I still don't like you, Shinya.
What activities are you referring to, Detective Man?
That's even worse.
You were cheering, and I quote, "Kill him dead. Kill him dead."
Yo, that don't sound like something I'd say. I want my lawyer. You can't detain me here.
Mr. Matsumoto, you willingly came here when we contacted you. You are not under arrest.
This is ludicrous. Ludicrous, I say!
Be that as it may, I have a few more questions. One witness declared that you followed the masked culprit after they fled the scene of the crime. Is there any truth to this claim?
Oh man, like, I just needed to go the same direction, you know? I've got no idea who this Harold person you keep mentioning is.
Shinya raises an eyebrow and casts me a dark look. I just
You
shrug.
never mentioned the word Harold. Is that the name the culprit refers to themselves
You
as?
just cooked yourself.
Oh, this is like some detective mind trick, ain't it? I have the right to remain silent. Anything I say or do, or whatever, can be like...
I've had enough of this creeps and inane ramblings.
Listen up.
I slam my fist against the table and send Junpei rolling back in his seat. He nearly falls off his chair but manages to regain his balance.
You've got two options here. Number one, tell us the identity of that killer, the person you called the Herald.
What's the other option?
Number two, tell us who is really in charge of the human removal service.
His sweaty, pulsating forehead is glowing red.
I can't betray the identity of the Herald. I just can't.
This game is so fucking funny, bro.
The guy behind all of this? I say fuck him. I'll sell him out if it means you'll pardon my involvement.
Why did he just fold off? Look, he felt... I don't know what caused his sudden change in attitude, but Shinya gives me a grateful nod and it feels good to have been helpful.
Please, Mr. Matsumoto, please give us a name.
Okay. Look, you gotta know this. I don't have all the deets, okay? I'm not as important as y'all think I am. But the guy running this whole thing, he's got an army of masked killers. An army of damaged chicks all going around, killing and calling themselves the Herald.
Can you stop selling the...
The name of this ringleader?
Like I said, I don't know everything. I don't got his full name. I only know him as N. Sinclair.
No fucking way. No way. In Sinclair, a foreign name, although the first name could be Japanese, I suppose. Shinya is jotting the name down and confirming the correct spelling with Junpei. I find myself lost in a thought far detached from this moment. From some strange reason, Noriko's face pops into my mind. I have a fuzzy recollection of a conversation with her, but I attempt to clarify the thought in my mind is useless.
Shinya, is the name familiar to you?
Yes.
Amazing, Shinya always surprises me.
So who is it?
Noriko Kurosawa once told me about a book she was reading. Now, please understand, I don't share the same taste in fiction as hers, so...
Yeah, I get it. Get to the point.
She used to read the most macabre, horrific
Macabre.
stories.
I've been saying macabre the whole time. Macabre.
And she told me about one book in particular. A book about a man obsessed with corpses.
Obsessed with corpses, huh? Jeez, don't that sound familiar? Wait, what am I saying? That does sound familiar. She told me about that book, too. Flower. Something about a flower.
Yes. Strange Flower. A book by Nobel Sinclair.
This is so fucking crazy. Okay, my brain is being split. Okay. Remember, I said... I forgot his name. I keep forgetting his name. Kojiro. Kojiro is Nobel Sinclair. If that is true, if I find out that that's true and Kojiro is actually Nobel Sinclair, then that means that Kojiro has been dangling the strings from the... Oh my god.
Jeez. You reckon that's the guy behind the human removal service?
I don't know, but it's a lead. A man obsessed with the dead. Truly despicable.
That's one way to put it. I've done my time with sickles like that, had enough of it, and put it all behind me.
Oh, Detective Man. Can I, go now?
Absolutely not.
Shinya turns away from Junpei and beckons for one of the armed police officers standing guard at the room's entrance. The officer walks over and obeys Shinya's command.
Arrest this man.
Yo, that's whack. What are you doing?
The police officer cuffs Junpei and yanks him out of his chair.
Shinya, that was cold.
It had to be done.
Junpei Matsumura is dragged away, kicking and screaming. Silence falls upon the room after the door closes and the police officers wake.
So, what now, Detective Man?
Shinya scratches his chin as though wondering why I would call him that, but he doesn't voice his
Our
discontent.
next step is to track down the author, Nobel Sinclair. Maybe he's our culprit, maybe not. Either way, we won't know until we talk to him.
Right on. And what about...
Shinya interrupts me with a sudden soft kiss on the lips. I close my eyes and lean into him, letting his warmth envelop me.
Shinya?
I couldn't have done this without you, Tomoe. And I wouldn't be the man I am today had it not been for you.
Let's fucking go!
Thank you.
Yes! The win.
Does this mean you want to be with me again?
Please say yes. Yes!
If you'll have me.
Yes! We've won! My heart swells with this confirmation. I've never been so happy. We fucking won.
Shinya, of course.
Best girl won. I don't have a problem no more. I'm happy. He hisses me again in the fear I had of losing him as he washes away. I won't fuck it up this time. I'll keep him close to me and protect him forever. I reluctantly break away from his embrace and hold his chin delicately in my fingers.
Let's go find this Nobel Sinclair fucker.
Yes. Let's find him and bring him to justice.
I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for her. Ending A. True. We did it. We did it. We got the true ending. There's multiple endings. Fuck it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We got it. 3 months later. All right, bet. We did it. We did it, gang. We did it, gang. Best girl got her ending. We're chilling. Sometimes on dark and overcast days, I can feel the cold bite of steel inside my gut. It's a phantom sensation that flickers and dissipates within moments. My doctor says it's nothing to be concerned about, but that doesn't prevent me from pulling my clothes aside to examine the skin underneath. The sight of the scar just little to comfort me. I don't think I should have survived this injury. I don't think I should have walked away after regaining consciousness. But somehow I survived that encounter with Ali. In the darkest recesses of my memory, I can vaguely recall the warmth of strong arms carrying me from that factory, carrying me to safety. Somebody saved me on that fateful day, but I don't know who. Regardless, I owe them my life, my new life. A life that is actually worth something. A life that doesn't consist of skulking in the shadows and pretending to be a beautiful corpse. I look down at the empty plate before me and smile. I'm still not accustomed to the sight of a finished meal, but I'm slowly learning to love it. Oh, she's eating now. This is great. My stomach feels full, truly full, not just full enough like I used to force myself to believe. I put on 4 pounds recently, 4 good, healthy pounds. My cheeks glow with vitality and my skin is no longer the sickly colored, ghastly flesh. The waiters at this restaurant are probably getting sick of seeing me in here every other day, but I don't mind. I eat well here and I've learned to cook at home too. Tomoe, of all people, taught me how to prepare dinner. I never expected to study the culinary arts under someone like her, but she has a knack of bringing out the flavor in food. She says she picked up a few things from her years of caring for her kid siblings. I'm learning a lot from her. Oh, they're still friends! Yes! We've won! I push my plate to the side and take a sip of water. Time to pay the bill and get going. There are things to do tonight after all. Months have passed since the last time I set foot on these cursed grounds. The wafting stench of decay invades my nostrils and threatens to make me spill the contents of my stomach on the asphalt. It's a stench that I was once completely accustomed to. Now it's a sickening reminder of the person I used to be not so long ago. I didn't want to come here tonight. I didn't want to come here ever. Yet here I am. Call it a hunch or a premonition or just a bad feeling, but some part of my mind urged me to visit this place after receiving a strange text message this morning. A text message that seemed both alien and familiar at the same time. A solitary word decorated the contents of the message, goodbye, but what drew my attention the most was the image of an attachment, a photo of a young woman. A young woman bent over backwards, her face obscured by matted hair and blood, and her chest exploded open from the inside. The young woman in the photo was me. It was an image of my own corpse. The craftsmanship was excellent. The cadaver used to replicate my body looked just like me. My first assumption that the human removal service sent this photo to me, but upon a moment of deliberation, that didn't seem to be the case. The human removal service activity has declined rapidly as of late. The number of murders or suicide, depending on how you look at it, across Tokyo had decelerated so quickly that it's almost as if the human removal service never existed at all. Besides, that organization had a particular trademark when sending out doctor corpse photos. They would include instructions with the message. Instructions for the victim to follow, usually involving the murder of another victim. The message I received simply said goodbye. My corpse photo feels personal. It's typical of the work I used to perform. It's almost as if someone took over the identity of Corpse Girl, the role that I once filled. But that's crazy, isn't it? I take a deep breath and stride towards the factory's entrance. I almost choke as I breathe in the thick air. The stench of death hangs like smoke inside the factory. This place looks like it just as it did when I was last here. The notable exceptions are the fresh cadavers displayed here and there upon the warehouse racks. Somebody is living here. Somebody is continuing Corpse Girl's work. And somebody thought it would be wise to target me as a victim. Me, Noriko Kurosawa. Somebody made a fatal mistake. Animalistic instinct rises within me as my legs move with purpose. My feet claw at the damaged concrete ground with every step. I'll kill the new Corpse Girl. I'll kill her and bury her. Enough is enough. I'll end the cycle of death that I started so long ago.
Hello? Who are you?
A meek voice slinks through the darkness, tugging aside the veil of silence ever so gently. I concentrate hard in order to identify the direction it came from. If I'm taken off guard even for just a second, it may be my end. My left. The voice came from my left. I spin on one heel and immediately feel bile rise in my throat.
May I help you with something?
What the fuck?
What the fuck is this? My name is Noriko. Noriko Kurosawa. It's nice to meet you. What's your name? Aoi? Is that you?
That is insane. I feel like I'm looking into a twisted mirror. The girl before me is not me, and yet...
Are you here to buy a corpse? I have plenty on display. You can browse as much as you like, but that one on the end of the rack is reserved. Sorry.
She runs her grimly hand through her unwashed hair and scratches her scalp violently. A fleck of spittle drips from her lower lip as her eyes glaze over. This is Aoi Sato. Despite the hair and the makeup and the clothes, my old clothes, her voice is the same as I remember.
Aoi, knock it off. You're scaring me. Who is Aoi? Is that your name? Well, it's nice to meet you, Aoi. My name is Noriko.
A moment of clarity brings immediate understanding. Just like I was torn between my own identity and that of Corpse Girl's, Aoi's become me. But her transformation hasn't been kind to her. Any recognition of her previous self has vanished. She doesn't even know her real name. After everything I've been through, I should be more forgiving to someone struggling with their identity. I should be understanding and sympathetic. Aoi, Noriko, grasped for air as my fingers clenched her throat. I rammed my knee into her stomach and smashed her into the warehouse racking, causing several stiff cadavers to crash to the ground around us.
Stop!
Aoi's lost herself. She has discarded all remnants of who she once was. I'm fine with that. I can almost relate to it. But I am Noriko Kurosawa. I've reclaimed my true self, and I won't let her become me. I am Noriko Kurosawa, and this bitch that stabbed me and left me for dead, will not take my life away from me.
Die! Die!
I press Aoi against the steel racks and feel something within her fail broadly either bend or break. Her dull, tired eyes begin to droop, and the hands scratching at my wrist suddenly give up the fight. I realize I'm panting heavily as I clutch her neck. Her own ragged breathing synchronizes with mine. It's almost as though we are one person. No, she is not me.
You are not me!
I scream and feel my fingernails puncture her skin. My fingers pierce her neck and drill into her flesh, stopping only when they clasp tightly around her spinal column. With all the strength I can pull from within me, I twist my arm and throw Aoi to the blood-spattered concrete. She hits the ground unceremoniously, her lightweight body barely making a sound as her vacant dead eyes stare up at the cracked ceiling. I never imagined I'd have to dig up this grave for a second time. When I buried Corpse Girl in the guards below our former apartment, I didn't predict I'd have to see her again so soon. But here she is, still rotten and miserable. I thought her burial was going to be the end of it all, a symbolic gesture to help me leave behind the person I had become. It was a way to reclaim my former self and bury the past. Corpse Girl doesn't say anything when she sees me lift the dirt from her resting place. She doesn't give me any indication that she even notices my presence. Fine, be that way. I couldn't care less.
I've brought a friend for you. Someone to keep you company.
With a great deal of effort, I hauled the body of Aoi, into the narrowed pit and let it collapse beside Corpse Girl. The girl in my old clothes seems to cuddle up to her new companion. It's almost fitting that the person who had become me should rest eternally beside the person I tried to become. I think I can rest easy knowing that they're both in the ground. I think nothing further can prevent me from being Noriko.
Suppose I should say a few words. You were my best friend, Aoi, and I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I'm sorry that I only ever wanted to save myself. I hope that you at least found some happiness by becoming me. Goodbye.
I clutch the small shovel in my hands and begin to fill in the makeshift grave. Dirt and rocks pile into the pit slowly. I mistake the faint howl of the wind as the final moan from the girl I once knew as Aoi. Dub, I needed her dead. Dub. Covered in dirt and grime and blood and muck and God knows what else, I collapse onto the floor in my new apartment. I'm very fortunate I managed to find this place. Someone moved out in a hurry, and I was able to move right in with just the first month's rent paid up front. Don't know if I'll be able to afford next month's payment, but I'll face that challenge when it arrives. For now, everything is finally over. I should shower or bathe or at least scrub the filth from my skin, but I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. This is the price of being Noriko Kurosawa. I roll over to my side and grab my phone, slowly bringing it to my eye level. An involuntary frown masks my dirt-encrusted face when I notice the icon from one missed call on my screen, an unknown number. A short message tells me that the caller left a voicemail. I don't know who would have called me at such a late hour. It's well past midnight after all. I close my eyes and let the voicemail play.
Hey. Bit late. Sauce. We should talk. Call me?
He's alive. Yep. It's all coming together. It's all piecing together. 1 year later. We have skipped through time. The book is almost warm in my hand. It's a pristine volume, fresh off the printing press. Perhaps paperback, though I would prefer hardback. Been a while since I last published a book. Years. The few fans I have probably thought I disappeared off the face of the planet. I did, in a way. Not my fault. Death is death. Nobel Sinclair died in a fire inside his family home. That was a long time ago. Even though my name burned to ash, my body survived. I had to pick up a new name after that. Can't wander this planet without one. This body went on living for quite a while with the new name. I even grew to like it. Then the strangest thing happened. Another fire. Inside a morgue this time. The new name went up in flames. My body survived. Again. Fate? Don't know. Felt a bit lost after that. Felt a bit unlike anybody. I decided to pick the old name back up, dusted it off, pinned it on my chest. Nobel Sinclair. It always suited me. Mother gave it to me after all. This time I didn't want to completely disregard my existence. The time spent as another man, too much happened. I've got too much to tell, too many tales to keep to myself. So this new book tells the entire story from start to end. I fucking knew it. I told you, that guy. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. The boss. The boss. The boss. The ultimate. Wasn't easy typing page after page with only one arm. One of the most taxing and challenging things I've ever attempted. But now it's done. Soon this new volume will hit the store shelves across the country. The world will know everything. I used pseudonyms throughout the book to protect the identities of the guilty. Didn't print Noriko Kurosawa's real name even once. Didn't identify Junpei Masamune or Aoi Sato. Didn't call out Tomoe Watanabe, or even that wannabe detective that always chases me, Shinya Fujikawa. And most importantly, I didn't print my previous name. Not that name anyway. I confessed a lot of things within this text. I even confessed my involvement with the Human Removal Service. Getting caught up in that organization's web of death wasn't something I ever intended to do. It wasn't something Kojiro would have ever done, but it was necessary. Necessary in order to finish this latest book. Nobel Sinclair rose through the ranks of the Shadow Society within mere weeks. Chalk it up to his or my macabre experiences. Couldn't have done it without the connection that I formed as Kojiro. Couldn't have done any of this without him. I'm at the top of the ladder now, so to speak. Got a bunch of killers on my payroll. Even the dog, Junpei, is on my leash now. Don't know where I'll go from here. Original plan was to shut the Human Removal Service down. Delete its existence as a final act of love for Noriko. But the power is nice. The power is intoxicating. Again, Kojiro wouldn't have toyed around with something like this. I'm not Kojiro. I look over the book in my hand once more. It's heavy, full of words that carry more weight than they should. Other people believe the content of this book is out of my control, but those with a keen intellect will surely be able to piece the truth together. My eyes scan the cover and read over the large embossed letters. Corpse Factory, a novel by Nobel Sinclair. I've never been more proud of my work. That's actually a top tier banger. That's a top tier game right there. Wow. I enjoyed that a lot. That was so fucking fire. That was dumb fire. And now we get to see all four of them on the mid. That was fire. It's fire as fuck. That was absolutely fire. I ain't got nothing else to say. This game was fire, bruh. This re-sparked my flame. You don't know how bad I was hating visual novels for a while, because that's all anybody ever wanted me to play. But this, it brought that spark back. It brought back that fire. I needed it. Corpse Factory. Damn, what a game. What a game, what a story. I enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the ups and downs. I enjoyed piecing everything together. This was good, man. 10 out of 10. 10 out of fucking 10. What a game. What a game. It was so good I recorded 3 episodes. A total of 5 hours of recording. I started 5 hours of recording, maybe even 6. I started at like 6 o'clock. It's 12:31 in the morning right now. I recorded all of that today. 3 episodes. Shit is wild, bro. This was such a good game. I'm so happy I got to enjoy this shit. Like, you don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm just resizing something. There's the music. This is so good. Corpse Factory was such a good fucking story, and I can't wait to find me another story that entrances me like this. Corpse Factory is done. It's time for a new journey after this, but I enjoyed Corpse Factory. 10 out of 10 game. I got nothing else to say, man. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, we move. I'll see you next time. Corpse Factory is complete.